The CEO Summit from Expert webinars, 2 streams of informative and educational talks on leadership and business growth.
So, Roger Jackson, CEO of SenseCheck, and as well a couple of other projects like Shopper Intelligence, but we're going to talk about marketing and, well, what's the best way of investing and how do you get that SenseCheck? So, Roger, I'll hand over to you.
Great. Hi, everybody. Yeah, great to be with you. Today, I'm going to talk about my own personal experience really of marketing. So this is a little bit of a kind of subjective point of view based on all the years I spent trying to develop my own business. And I'm going to talk about it from the perspective having built Shopper Intelligence as a business, but now we've just launched a project called SenseCheck, which I'll come on to the end, which is why the presentation is branded SenseCheck. So my background actually is in professional marketing. I spent my first 15 years or so in blue chip consumer goods marketing. But the last 15 years, I've been developing my own business, which is called Shopper Intelligence, which is a market research business. So I'm a brand marketer by training and a market researcher by experience. And yet really, I would say my own journey of marketing for my own business has been really about learning from making terrible mistakes, which I'm going to share with you, and wrestling with those issues daily. But I would say that the good news is that despite really being pretty bad at it, I've managed to get to a business to a decent size across 10 countries. But one of the things I've done is based on my own experience, I've launched this new business called SenseCheck. And I think you'll see where this is coming from when I talk about my experience. First of all, quick definition. When I talk about marketing, what do I mean? Because it's got 1,000 different kind of point of views. I guess I'm talking about outward bound communications to potential clients in a way that will increase your growth rate. So that's quite a broad definition. And I guess old school marketing is like the guy on the right, isn't it? You know, I just kind of put my mouth against a loud hailer. Hopefully we'll get to the point in a minute where we think that's no longer the right way to do things. But it's about how you present your business and your product to the people who you want to buy it. Now, I just wanted to kick off by just confessing my mistakes, really. I mean, I've done lots and lots of things. I've always been very experimental with marketing. I'd rather be shot for having a go than for not having a go. And I've done various things like, you know, I go to a big US industry conference and I take a little booth down in the corner and wait for people to come and say hi, thinking that they're going to go, wow, that's a new thing. I wonder what you guys do and come and chat to me. They didn't. I spent 3 days pretty much by myself in the corner of a conference suite. I thought it would help if I bought banner ads in a newsletter to the industry. So I spent many thousands of dollars putting banner ads on top of a industry newsletter and didn't get anything from that at all, not a dicky bird. So I kind of concluded that actually people didn't even click on a banner if they don't know who you are. I've revamped our website multiple times. I never really detected any noticeable difference in what that makes to my business. So I'm now very pragmatic about spending lots of money on websites. I've done a certain amount of automated work on LinkedIn, and now I'm pretty passionately against automated stuff on LinkedIn. I think it really backfires. At one point, I built my own shop. I just chucked my data down into chunks and sold it direct on a web store and didn't sell a single one. It cost me a lot of time and money to build that. And I thought, well, if I sell it in small chunks, people will be more likely to buy it. Of course, the problem was they didn't even know it existed. So that really didn't work. I've also done a lot of cold calling. In fact, I've hired cold calling companies thinking, let's phone everybody up. And if we annoy them enough, they're bound to buy something from us. They didn't. They just got really annoyed with me, my people just phoning them. I've also spent quite a bit of time and money on business development people and hiring salespeople. And I would say that really is a very difficult thing to do, just being a salesperson if you haven't got your marketing right behind. So I would say that a lot of what I've done has been a bit of a disaster area, but don't worry too much about it. You learn and you learn and you learn. And I think that's one of the big things about marketing is to learn fast and learn quick and do things. There's a couple of models I want to show you that I find really helpful. I went to a seminar by Bryony Thomas. And I think the thing that really stuck me about this was the early part of this funnel. First of all, she talks about marketing playing a role throughout the funnel. And that's a really big point. Often we think about marketing being the start of the funnel, then everything else happens after that. Actually, your marketing will help with not only people knowing you exist, but they'll understand more about you. They'll understand other people are buying you, be more confident in you. They'll see you as being helpful and friendly. Or they'll be more confident with having bought you and they'll tell more people about it. Marketing will work for you throughout your funnel. But I think the thing that I bumped onto, and I think the slide before about my failures, what I hadn't really understood was how important it is in B2B marketing, and I'm really talking about B2B marketing here, that prospects feel they know something about you. I mean, essentially, I don't think B2B buyers buy from a company they never heard of. It's just too risky. There's too much at stake, particularly as I do. I sell to big corporates. So actually, people understanding you exist, being familiar with you, and feeling they know a bit about you is really important, that first stage of the funnel. But having shown that funnel, which I think is powerful, I think this is even better for what we do, which is not to think about it as a funnel at all, but really to be much more focused. And this is the sort of the account-based marketing model. I got this off Cognism, which I think is a good little model here, which is really spend much more time understanding who your customers are, kind of what they want, where they are, how they think, how they behave. Know a lot more about their pain points, their desires, what problem you're actually trying to solve, what does your product do for them. So you really can talk their language and talk about what they need. And then your marketing outreach is about engaging with them in the right time and places. So really getting away from more the shotgun type approach of just kind of spray and pray, and being much more focused into who you're talking to and how you grapple with them. And then use them more to be advocates for you. So springboard off your existing clients into new clients. Nothing more powerful than a recommendation. So I'm moving more towards this model in my mind. It doesn't mean I don't do broad scale marketing stuff. Particularly, I do a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. I think it's a great way of getting people to know you exist. I'll talk about that in a minute. But actually, this is a more kind of pragmatic way of thinking about marketing. So my title was The Best or the Worst Way. So let's just think about why it can be a total utter waste of money. And I have, as I mentioned, wasted quite a bit of money in the past. I think the fundamental thing for any business owner is it's really hard to measure the outcomes in a clear way. I mean, fine, you can measure the end of the marketing process, but you can't so easily break down the different bits to understand them. The other thing I've always found very difficult is there are so many people who will tell you to do different things. And if you delegate too much and you get too many people doing different things, you completely lose control of what's happening and your money ends up in the proverbial bin. So one of my kind of assertions is to really, as a business owner, own the marketing process. It's central to your business. It's crucial to your business. And there's so many different parts you could get wrong. I mean, your strategy could be wrong, like you're not targeting the wrong people with the wrong messages. You might be using the wrong kind of medium, the wrong tools, be advertising the wrong places. Your creative thinking, your ideas, your content may be no good. You may actually just not be spending enough. I mean, that's a big question I ask myself is, do I spend enough even to get noticed if I'm up against very big competitors? There's no point doing things that no one's going to see it. And are you being either too short-term or too long-term? And if you get either of those wrong, it kind of doesn't work. You've got to have the balance right. So I'll start up front and saying that, yes, marketing can be a really big waste of expenditure. Now, obviously, I don't believe that is the be-all and end-all. That's not the end of the conversation. We've got to figure out how we can find out how to do marketing better, be willing to learn and explore and be curious about what might work better. And I listened to a bit of Joe's presentation a minute ago. Some really good, helpful content there, which I endorse. So I think the best thing about marketing for me is it really unlocks your business. And that's the way I would think about it. It's not just a communication tool. It's about how you talk to your market, how you deal with your customers, and even how you operate internally as a business. And some key bullet points for me around this is, first of all, engaging your audience emotionally. And we have to understand the extent to which even in B2B, buyers mainly decide based on their feelings towards you, not on all your rational product benefits. If you get that right, your business will grow fast because people will buy from the company they like, they trust, they think everybody else is buying from. That sort of opens the door to people being willing to do business for you. And that accelerates everything else, particularly how well your salespeople work. So if you just hire a salesperson and say, go out cold into the market and make phone calls, you're giving them a really tough job. Ask them to go and talk to people who already feel they know you. That's much, much easier. And it does unlock your whole effectiveness. So everything else you do, from your selling through to your delivery, through to your product development, that's all improved by your marketing. And one point I think is really powerful, if you do what you should do in marketing, which is understand your customers better, that actually drives your product too. So you get a feedback loop. And all of that ends up being quite cost efficient because it's a very good drive of your business. And it can be very targeted, can be rifle shot, not shotgun. And above all, you can stand out. If you become well known, that solves so many problems. So if you have great marketing ideas that make you stand out, you become famous. And instead of being a small business, you suddenly become a big business, which is kind of what we all want. So I'm a passionate believer that marketing is the thing to get right, even though I've historically got it wrong. And this is the model, I think, that is the one that should dominate our thinking. This is from the IPA and is talking about business to business. And really the take out of this is that it's the combination of short-term marketing and long-term marketing that really works powerfully. The red line there is short-term marketing, promotions, if you like, activity, campaigns, where you get peaks of leads or whatever you're looking for. And in the short term, when you start a business, so when I launched Shopper Intelligence, all you did, you made phone calls, you went to see people, you did selling, and that won you business. But as you build your reputation, your image, and your the emotional connection you have with your market, your fame, if you like, then that becomes a much bigger driver of your sales. And you can see there, and this is a numbers-driven model, this isn't made up, this is from research, is that your promotional activity actually works harder and harder for you. That blue line is going up all the time because you are talking to a market that already knows you. So the recommendation here is all about, some of your marketing is about building your brand and being long-term, and some of it is about achieving leads, downloads, email addresses, or whatever it is in the short term. And about 50-50 seems to me to be gut feel about right. The sad part of it is that half of your marketing you probably can't measure in the short term, because you just don't really know if it's working for you. You just have to have faith. And then over time that works for you. So I think this is a great way of thinking about marketing. I want to just quickly talk about digital marketing, because we all now know that a lot of marketing happens online, and I've learned some hard lessons from this. I think the first thing is it's just a hard reality now that you've got to fish where the fish are. That if your clients are online doing stuff, and we use LinkedIn a lot, and I know Instagram and Facebook are other routes, even for B2B, you have to be there because you can't connect with them easily the old school way. Most of our clients are extremely different to phone up, and email stuff is easily swamped. And it's a good way to start your funnel. I mean, digital is a great way of building a relationship, building trust, credibility with content. So I think in terms of my priority, I think content to start people to, my prospects to know who I am and what we do is a really crucial first part of everything we do. We want our content to talk about what our clients care about, not what we care about. And this is part of the thing about being close to your customers, understanding them. So we talk about problems, we talk about solutions, we talk about the client's world. And I think the other thing about this digital world actually is relatively easy to test and learn. You don't have to spend a lot to find out if people are interested. You can put up a white paper. If nobody cares, it's probably not a topic they're interested in. So you can test and learn, you can do small things and you can build on them. What we're all trying to do is get digital to work as a bit of a lead engine that over time, as people connect with us or touch us multiple times, they eventually become a lead. And when I say multiple times, obviously, I just don't think anyone's going to kind of sort of fill in their email form and say, hey, come and phone me up from one contact with you. They're probably going to have to hear from you in useful ways 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, even 10 times. So that's what digital can do. It can start to kind of build those connections over time. So think about it that way. Don't expect just because it's online and people can give you their email that they're just going to. It takes a bit of time. But LinkedIn for me, it's a fantastic tool. I'm very active on it. And I have 4 years in now, I do see a lot of leads now coming from LinkedIn, but it didn't happen quickly. So quick summary on my 4 key takeouts as I put this together. What have I learned over the years? Put the effort into strategy, understand your customers, know who they are, know what they want. Really important. Test and learn. There's no magic out of the box solution. I've done lots of testing and learning. Maybe I can avoid a few mistakes now, knowing what I know, but I don't actually feel bad about making mistakes. They're all kind of useful to me. I think you got to make it a priority. I think it's got to be a personal priority. If you own the business, don't think you can just delegate it to an agency or an associate or a junior person. It's absolutely the center of your business. And finally, we're not machines. Don't think that a list of product benefits is going to win you business just because they all make sense to you. You've got to connect with the clients, how they feel, and the problems they have in their own minds. So quickly, let me finish by talking about where SenseCheck came from, if you don't mind. It's designed to help some of this. It's designed to solve a problem that I felt has been present for quite some time in my business, which is getting a second opinion. It's a really simple idea. The problem I'm trying to solve here is that when you work in a small business, how do you get a second opinion? How do you get an external, clear-eyed and arm's length perspective on your marketing to tell you whether it makes sense. Particularly this problem of it's very easy to talk about yourself and not talk about your clients. And that can be quite hard to spot. You can think you're saying the right things, but is that coming across, and would a third party find your communication interesting and relevant? So the idea is pretty simple. It's a community of business owners. You join up, you become a member, and you could put your ideas up on the platform and you'll get a randomly picked group of people giving you feedback. And then in reciprocal basis, you take part. So it's not expensive. It's a reciprocal community, small business owners helping each other with their marketing and acting as a proxy for clients, because actually it's very hard to get feedback from clients. We think the peer group, your fellow business owners, can be a proxy for at least an external audience assessing your marketing. So that's me, that's my experience and my tips. Thank you for your time, and I'll be delighted to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Roger. I think that was very valuable, very interesting. And I loved that graph. It was fascinating to see something so starkly pointed out.
I should say, just on SenseCheck, there's a free trial available for anybody who wants to give it a go. There's on our little kind of expo page, you can go through and you can just try it out. There's no charge at the moment. So join, post something, get some feedback and see what do you think of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was about to mention that. So head to the expo, SenseCheck. You'll be able to click there. We'll send out an email afterwards. So if anyone does want to try it, you'll have the opportunity to. And we'll make sure that if you do want to have a go and see what you think, then you will be able to do so. Not got any questions coming in, so I think that's nicely done.
It's always good to be completely clear and unambiguous and have no...
That's it.
Stuff.
We've got a couple of people typing, so we will just leave it for 30 seconds or so. Ayuba says, thanks, very helpful. Echo those sentiments. And yeah, so how long would you say it took you to, from LinkedIn, to actually start getting inquiries coming in and start getting a bit more activity, not just from every piece of activity?
I would say it's a couple of years to really start to see the benefit. I mean, I've been posting pretty much every day for maybe 3 years now, but we start to go to meetings and people say, oh yes, I've heard of you. And you say, how? They say, I see Roger's stuff on LinkedIn. And I'm a global business with hundreds of clients all around the world. So I decided to make LinkedIn a kind of personal goal of mine and be the representative of my business. So rather than just posting kind of businessy stuff, to make it more personal, I think that's the biggest tip that I hear and I would endorse is it's a social media. Never forget it's a social media. It's not a selling tool. It's actually a social tool. Entertain people, say interesting stuff, talk about yourself, be a human being. And eventually people kind of go, yeah, I think I know those people. And when they get a call or they see a white paper or stuff, they're much more likely to engage with it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point, because I think LinkedIn's a hugely powerful tool at the moment, and there's obviously lots of people on there, but lots of people are doing it very badly. Your first connection with someone, instantly you get a sales pitch from them that's 2 pages long, and it's, here's my Calendly link, and you think, well, that's lovely, but I don't even know you yet. We haven't even said hello. So it's about providing that value, isn't it, first?
Got to think about a bit like being a dating website. It's like, don't do that. Don't send that dodgy photograph. It really isn't going to work.
No. Michael's asked, in your opinion, what's the best marketing method right now to bring the most success?
Well, that's the $64 million question, isn't it? I don't think there's best, because it's very much about what your clients do. So I think that the single thing to think about is, where are my clients? Where are they? Where are their eyeballs? Where are their brains? And what are they looking for? I've got to go to them, right? I've got to go to wherever they are, what they're thinking. I would say LinkedIn is a fantastic tool for that. And you just got to be very externally oriented and, think about them and the problems they have and put stuff out there that'll be helpful. One of the most successful thing we did recently is one of my colleagues did a fantastic job putting together a bunch of Excel tips. It's like, well, that's not about our market research business, but actually our clients spend a lot of time in Excel. So we said, here are the 20 best things that you may not know you can do with Excel. And we had 10,000 people getting a copy of it. And it's like, you got to think about solutions as opposed to, here's my stuff, buy my stuff, because people find that very, very off-putting.
Yeah. And that's what your sales team's for at the end of the day, isn't it? They will be the ones go to people who actually ask for the sale. Marketing is more about the brand and bringing people to you.
I think these days B2B selling is all about inbound. It's all about people reaching out to you. Otherwise, the world is too cluttered. There's too much stuff. You just try and push. People will push back. Like, I'm just too busy. I don't care.
No, that's a very good point. There is a wealth of content out there at the moment, so that there's a lot of external noise. Glenda's asked, yes, as a networking expert, it's a good point. Same with networking. Don't start by immediately jumping in and asking someone for a sell. Do the introductions first. Perfect. I think there's just one final question then. We've got a minute to go. What do you think about joining LinkedIn groups that are built for specific industries and then creating lead magnets within those groups?
Look, I think it like anything that helps you target people better. And I guess a group is people with a common interest. There's no harm in that. I've never noticed it working particularly. We've tried it. I've never noticed it being that different to just building your own network. I mean, in the end, I think actively networking with people who are interested in you and your stuff, but not in a salesy way, just connecting with people saying, hey, I think we are interested in the same things, does just as good a job. I don't think there are any shortcuts, actually. I think there's a lot of people out there marketing shortcuts on LinkedIn. Hey, pay us $1,000 a month and we'll fix it all for you. I think that's snake oil. I just think it's quite time consuming and you have to do it right, and then it works for you. So, if you view anything as being it's a shortcut, it probably isn't. But yeah, groups I think can be helpful.
I think that's a very, very good point for us to end on. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're looking for a shortcut, but actually putting the effort in, and it's worthwhile in the long run. Marvelous. Thank you so much, Roger. Really appreciate you coming on for us, and we'll share the links to this recording because there's a couple of people asking about the presentation, and we'll share links to SenseCheck as well afterwards.
Fantastic. Appreciate it.